Next, we have our undergraduate speaker, Jadyn Newman. Jadyn is a native of Chicago who threw herself into life at AU. She'll return home this fall to complete a year-long prestigious fellowship, the Dunn Fellowship in Digital Media for the Illinois Governor's Office. Please come forward, Jadyn.
The School of Public Affairs main building, Kerwin Hall, is covered in quotes about research. Research was in our course requirements, the goal of our independent studies, the subject of our capstone papers. We learned what it meant to research in our respective fields. We've read pivotal law cases, documented policy changes. We've even understood proposed solutions well enough to come up with our own. But as students at AU, research was not always confined to the classroom. Let me tell you how. I researched in the offices of some of my favorite professors, where I, and probably some of you, asked questions we now look back and cringe at. I learned about DC gentrification, the global cases for transitional justice, and most recently, the appropriate timeline for following up with an employer after you interview. Whether they're sharing deep wisdom, unique intellect, or casual tips for surviving out there after graduation, there is no doubt that our professors care about us. But I also researched in the hallways of the Anderson Hall dorms when I talked with Patricia, a kind and gracious staff member of AU's housekeeping. She told me about her family, she asked about my own, and she even taught me and my roommate the best way to cook plantains in the dorm lounge stove. When I stayed at school for Thanksgiving this year, she even brought me a plate of leftovers from her own family's holiday. From this research, I learned that putting sugar in your plantain oil makes them brown more quickly, but also that sometimes a single person can make us feel at home. I researched while commuting home on the AU shuttle bus, where I learned that my good friend Dawn, who drives the bus most nights, grew up in DC. He provided me with an insider's look at this city's history, and I definitely cited it on more than one project. And he even came in on his day off to watch me graduate today. From my research with Dawn, I learned not only about the experience of a brilliant young actor living right here in Chocolate City, but also that real community means looking out for one another. Fellow graduates, I think we've learned two kinds of researching over the past couple of years. The first is the traditional kind, which we learned as students at this fantastic research institution, but the other we discovered on our own. It's the kind of research where we respect and value the experiences of the people around us. I'd argue it's just as important as what we learned in the classroom, and even more crucial to our growth. When we leave AU, we must go into the world with assurance. We must speak with conviction, but most importantly, we must listen. We must never doubt that another person has something to teach us, and we must trust that one day we'll have something to share with future researchers too. Thank you.